Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video we are checking out the G91R3, and it is the second rank 5 jet that you can get if you research the Horton and play it first. Now, if you're going directly from the Horton to the G91, it's going to have a pretty drastic learning curve to it, especially since this plane oftentimes will go up against faster jets with afterburners. I'll get into that later. Hi, baby. Today's gameplay is going to be a little bit different. It's actually a 1v1 versus a player I met online by the name of... She is saying something. Anyways, by the name of NextGen. So he's flying the German MiG-15 Bis. And I thought that there were some good dogfights that were pretty entertaining to watch, so we'll cut into that, and I'll tell you some pros and cons about this plane and just a little more about it in general. So guys, in random battles, it seemed like I was going up against jets that were quite a bit faster than me almost every single game. So keep that in mind whenever you're playing this plane. You're going to have to stay on the defensive pretty much for the whole game. It is capable of boom and zoom tactics, and the 30 mils are pretty good. They're pretty fast firing, or have a high fire rate. If somebody wanted to correct me, I got you there. They're pretty hard hitting, and they're fairly accurate too at, I'd say 600 meters to 500 meters are when, let me rephrase, at 600 they're going to start to die out a little bit, but otherwise they're not too bad. Pretty easy to use. You only have 250 rounds of ammunition, and if you do spray and pray, that can become a little bit of an issue, but something else that you need to think about when you're flying this plane is you only have 3 fuel options. You have 9 minutes, 20 minutes, or a full tank, which is 30 or 31 minutes. So this is actually the second 1v1 that I did with NextGen. In the first one, I had 20 minutes of fuel, and he just absolutely destroyed me. It wasn't even funny. I would say in this second 1v1 that you're watching right now, that's where all of these clips come from. I would say it's a lot more evenly matched, and all of that to say, just take the 9 minutes of fuel. You can go back and get more fuel or get more ammunition. Going back to the airfield is not ever an issue. You can throttle back to 75 or 80% and make it fairly easily. This plane does have pretty good energy retention, unless you're just cranking on S and like I'm doing here. It doesn't really matter in this situation, since it's just him and I in the game. I don't have any other people to worry about. It's just him. So, just keep in mind, if you do hold the S key down, you are going to bleed a lot of your energy. But if you do that, pop out your combat flaps, and this plane can turn pretty decently. If you are going up against a MiG-19 or an F-104, and if either of those planes get slow, I'm sure that you could outmaneuver them at least. You're not going to outrun them by any means. Speaking of jets that are higher above you, the random missiles that you sometimes come up against while flying this plane are so annoying. You don't have flares, and you just have to try and outmaneuver your missiles, which I'm not a missile pro, but when they have like The middle circle and the smaller circle outside of that, those ones are pretty easy to dodge. They're not all aspect missiles. I think it's whether or not they have like a gimbal on them so that they can track a target easier. But the ones without a gimbal are pretty easy to dodge in this plane and not a very big issue. Oh, let's see here. Looking at my video notes. So, with other 8.7 jets, like the MiG-15 BIS, or some early variants of the F-86, I believe, you're pretty evenly matched with them. It's like you're watching, it's going to lead to some pretty good dogfights. The A4Es, the premium for, like, I think it's the Israeli tech tree, somebody correct me down in the comments. Those are interesting to come across, but most of those guys that are buying premiums, they're not going to know what to do in a fight. So you can use that to your advantage. And if you have played something like the F-84, it'll be a pretty easy transition into this jet. There's still going to be a little bit of a learning curve, since instead of being the fastest jet in the lobby, you're now technically one of the slowest, which isn't that big of a problem, but it's just something to keep in mind. Oh, let's see. Top speed isn't bad. It's around 1,000 kilometers an hour, and that's at sea level. But you are going to want to have an altitude advantage, so you're climbing in this plane like you would in a prop. It's not as drastic, and you can climb at a higher speed, but you're still going to be climbing. You really do need that energy advantage, especially going after some of the F-86s and the F-9Fs, I believe, are some that I had an issue with. Another note is that you do have some pretty good strike armaments, I'll call them, that you can attach to the underwing pylons there. You have two 250 kilogram napalms. Oh, sorry. I thought this was so dope when I was filming it. I just watched it, I was like, man, that's going to make a good clip. Anyways, you can take 2 napalm bombs, 2 500-pound bombs, 4 250-pound bombs. I think you have the ability to take 4 of the guided air-to-ground missiles, the Nords, and then I'm sure you have a couple rocket salvos that you can attach up on there. But I found that the 30 mils, if you take ground target belts, they can take out pillboxes pretty easily. I'm using air target belts in this match, but it's almost all preference. But yep, if you want to use this plane as a strike aircraft, you very well can. It's pretty fast at low altitude, but you do have to keep in mind that there are going to be planes that are dramatically faster than you are and that do have missiles that can track you easily. But I'm thinking that that's going to wrap it up for this video. So as always, if you guys liked watching, leave a like down below. If you have any Warthunder tips, I always love to hear them, so leave them in a comment. And if you have any planes that you want to see me fly, just leave a request down below and I will get to them pretty soon. The next plane that we're going to be checking out is a French prop. That's all I'm going to say about it. And also really quick, I just want to thank you guys for 96 subscribers. That's kind of crazy to think about, since 3.5 weeks ago I was at 28. So thank you guys very much for that, and as always, hit the subscribe button if you want to see some more content, and we'll catch you in the next one.